Back on campus here in Sardis, Alabama, with head coach B.J. Brooks of the Sardis Lions. And coach, you guys had a nice little game last week. I know you wasn't too pleased. We talked a little bit off the camera about it, but you did get the victory, 42-8, in a region win. And now, for the first time, coach, in a long time, you guys get to host a game coming up at Brewer. But before we get to talk about that, let's talk about last week's game, man, and how that all transpired and ultimately led for you to a 42-8 victory.
Yeah, well, for one, we were just thankful to be able to pick up a game. That was the week we were originally supposed to play Crossville. Gotcha. And, the second year of a reclassification, you got to find somebody that has the exact same off week as you, and they can only be playing 9 games.
That's right. That wasn't a region game.
Yeah, so there was only 4 teams in the state that had the same open week that we could have played.
Gotcha.
2 were in Mobile, and then there was Columbia and Hatton. And Geraldine was actually already in discussions with Hatton. And gotcha. So we got lucky. I'm just glad our kids got to play another game, because it would have kind of been rough for us to have a bye week, play ARAB, then have another bye week there all at the start of the year. But we didn't play the way I wanted us to play, but you're always excited to get a win. An ugly win's always better than a loss.
Seemed like your defense played pretty decent to hold them to 8. You knew going in they had some guys that could score some points and stuff. Talk about the defensive effort a little bit.
Yeah, at the first, I felt like it just took us a minute to adjust to the speed. Obviously, they're probably the fastest team we've played all year. But I told the guys all week, they're going to be bigger than you. They're going to be faster than you. They're going to be more athletic than you. If you don't come out there, your head screwed on straight, ready to go from the start, then you're going to find yourself in a dogfight.
Yeah, but ultimately you guys did pull out that victory. What did you learn about this group of guys? They're kind of gritting through a game like that, knowing wasn't your best performance, but you did get a W.
I think they responded. Halftime wasn't pretty.
The halftime speech?
Nah. So,
was it good stuff?
I had to repent a little bit, but I just had to go in there and get on them. They weren't playing to the standard that we have here, and they weren't withholding to that. And I had to let them know that. That's my job as their leader. And we had some other guys step up and lead the team. Some of the seniors, step up. People like Blaze Gerhardt. He picked up, going second half. Bryson Blevins did a good job on defense. And just kind of had a lot better second half.
Let me ask you a question. Are you having to battle that mental hurdle of these guys in the back of their head are not used to this? They're not used to winning football games like this. Are you still having to battle that kind of, and how tough is that?
Yeah, I don't know how much we're still battling it per se. I think last week was a hurdle because you played a really good ARAB team and you had a chance to beat them.
Gotcha.
And you fell short on it. And so I think that kind of lingered too long within the guys all week. And then you're facing a team that hasn't won a lot. But if you go out there and you don't do what you're supposed to do, that's what I said, hey, I promise this. You go out there and you screw around, everybody will remember the team that they beat to break the streak, and you don't want that to be you. So I don't know if it's so much that. I think it's just so much. I think our guys held on to the ARAB loss for too long.
And like you said, this team hadn't won a bunch, but they got some guys. So you give them guys confidence, and at any time you could be in a game, like you said. Now, this week you're going to play Brewer. You are hosting. Mm-hmm. First of all, what's it going to feel like for you to be able to chill out, not hop on a bus, and carry guys to play a football game? What's that going to feel like to you?
It sounds like it's going to be awesome, a little peaceful. but then again here, that's also more work you got to do the whole week. This is you got to paint the game field. You got so much other work that goes into hosting a home game that a lot of people in the general public don't even know about. They're just like, oh, it's a home game. Well, that means you got to weed eat around the stadium. You got to cut the grass around the stadium. You got to do so many things setting up so that it has a good environment here and it looks nice. Right. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. And it's homecoming week, so there's a lot of distractions, and that's what I've just been reiterating to the guys all week. What is this week about? We are having this week because there's a football game. Mm-hmm. And if you want to have something to celebrate, you better make sure you have a good week of preparation so that Friday night there's something to celebrate.
That's right. Because I've seen, unfortunately, I see it all the time. I won't even call them upsets. It's just teams are not dialed in on homecoming week.
Yeah.
And you'll see a team lose to a team they're not supposed to lose to. You see it all year long. I see it every single year. So you're right about that.
To me, this week will be about leadership
Mm-hmm.
and guys doing stuff and
That's
taking
right.
accountability and making guys do it right. This week is I really will see how far we've come as a team in the leadership perspective.
How do you keep these guys dialed in on this week, too? Because when you look down the road, you got Scottsboro, you got Guntersville, you got all these teams. Douglas next. You got them all like bang, 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 bang. How do you keep them? Okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We've got to concentrate on Brewer.
I think just a day at a time, and just constantly harping on them and letting them know we're not to the point that we've arrived where we can overlook anybody.
That's right. Yeah.
We're still trying to make a name for ourselves, and we're turning this ship, but we still haven't got it steamrolling downhill yet.
Okay.
So we are just I tell them all the time, you take one day off and see what happens last week.
That's right. And another thing is enjoy these victories too, because unfortunately over the last couple of years these victories were hard to come by for Sardis.
For sure.
But they took a lot of big losses.
Yeah.
And breaking that normalcy of knowing you got to ride, man, enjoy these. I'm telling you, that's something special each and every Friday that we get to witness.
That's what I try to remind myself. That's what I try to remind myself too. Even though we played bad,
that's right.
And I just it's always better to get a win. There's a lot of people. Half the teams in the state lost on Friday.
You got that.
Half of them won. So there was a lot of other coaches that would much rather been sitting in my spot and been mad and irritated but had a win. So that is one thing I do try to remind myself. It's just hard sometimes when you're just trying to stay on them all the time. You want it to be perfect, but it'll obviously never be perfect.
Yeah, that's the great Vince Lombardi post. You remember that? Or post. This is back before there was nothing. Quote when he said, we want to be perfect. We know we're going to chase that to be perfect, but we know in the process we're going to catch excellence.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. That's a good way to look at life too. Yeah. Really. What are some of the things at this point that you've learned about this group of guys? You've had them now. We're almost halfway through the season. You've got some wins under your belts. You got a loss under your belt. What's some of the things you've learned from this group of guys?
They work hard.
Through it all.
They do. I would say they're bought in. I would say they're getting mentally and physically stronger too. They've learned how to practice. It's been a total 180 for them compared to what they're used to, and I couldn't ask for better attitudes, better work ethic. One thing we do need to continue to focus on as well is just the details.
Gotcha. Doing
the small details the correct way. That's what I tell them all the time. Details matter. If you want to be really good and beat good teams, then you got to do stuff the right way.
That's right. 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like you said, you just take a day off or an hour or a play off, it can spiral.
You may not think this play matters in getting lined up, and then when it's in the final drive and the final minute and a half to beat A-Rab and you don't get lined up or you're not sure yourself, and that brings you back.
That's right.
Or something like that. Or you don't think that you blocking down on that extra point matters. We'll get that extra point blocked when it's tied up, and then you have to chase for 2 points the rest of the game. Stuff like that matters.
That's right. Or worst case scenario, you're kicking it to win a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you don't do it right.
You lose it.
Yeah. Then we're going to be talking about what we just mentioned about half the teams in the state are not happy campers right now. Anything else anybody needs to know about homecoming week that you need to tell everybody? Any special messages, any special times?
Hey, I think it's going to be a packed house. There could be like some cooking and grilling out and tailgating going on. So I would just come and try to make an awesome environment for our kids and our community, and be loud and help cheer us on.
Coach, who rode you guys' yard out here at the school?
So every time we win here, it's like a mini Tumor's Corner.
Gotcha.
So the students come and they roll those trees.
Gotcha. After a victory.
After a victory. So when we see toilet paper, that's a good thing.
Yeah, you got that right.
Now I got to pick it up, but apparently that comes with the job. But but I didn't know that before they started rolling it. But hey, if I'm out there picking up toilet paper, then that means we had a good.
You'll
Friday
take
night.
a win
For sure.
to pick up toilet paper.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, I get the blower and it's a quick fix.
That's it. There we go.
So,
well, Coach, I guess that's going to do it this week for the BJ Brooks Show. We'll be back here next week. And as always, man, good luck to you guys on Friday.
Appreciate it. Come see us.
Thank you.